Hello students, welcome to my channel School Online 24/7, and today I am going to describe fourth chapter from Honeydew book, and it is for class 8. I have already described and uploaded the first and second part of the chapter 4, Bepin Choudhury's Lapse of Memory. So first of all watch first and second part, and then you should start the third part of the chapter. Okay, let us start the third part. Is from there. It is the starting of the third part. Okay, I'm going to start it. After lunchtime, Bipin Babu realized that he could not possibly carry on. Carry on means continue. Sitting at his desk and working. This had happened in the 25 years he had been with the firm. Firm means resolved, determined. He had a reputation for being a tireless, conscientious means careful and correct worker, but today his head was in a whirl. It means confused and able to think clearly here. Okay, I'm going to describe this para's meaning. In this paragraph, uh, after lunch break, Bipin Babu had the realization that he just could not continue sitting on his desk and work like nothing had happened. This was something so unusual, uncommon, that he had not faced anything like it in his 25 year of association with the company. Here the author was talking about the 25 year of career of Bipin Babu's. He was known for his hard work and diligence. Unlike always, he was unable to think clearly today. Next paragraph. But home at 2:30, Bipin Babu lay down in bed and tired together. His wits means virtue or intelligence. Together, he knew that it was possible to lose one's memory through an injury in the head, but he did not know of single instance. Their intense means sign or mark. Intense of someone remembering everything except one particular incident. Incident means event here, and a fairly recent and significant. Significant means importance. One at that. He had always wanted to go Ranchi, to have gone there, done things, and not remember was something utterly impossible. Utterly means absolutely. And he had tied together his wits. Its complete sense make an effort to become calm and think clearly. Okay, now I'm going to describe. Listen the meaning of this paragraph. As he reached at home by 2:30 in the afternoon, Bipin Babu lay down in his bed and made an attempt to become calm and peaceful, to be able to think clearly. because he wanted to think it very clear. He was well aware about the possibility of losing one's memory because of one injury in the head, but he had never heard a case where one does not remember just only one particular incident, only one particular event. It was more difficult for him to believe it because the incident he had forgotten was quite recent and actually significant, as it had been mentioned earlier. He had always wanted to go to Ranchi and do stuff, so it makes it all the more difficult for him to believe that he could forget about something he had wanted to go for a long time, because he wanted to go for a long time to Ranchi. But how uh, could it be possible that he forgot about it? He only think about it. Next paragraph. At 7:30, yes, from there. At 7:30, Bipin Babu's servant came and announced, Chuni Babu, sir, says it's very important. Means here it was about 7:30 in the evening when Bipin Babu's house help, means his servant, came to him and announced that Chunni Babu had come to see him, and he said it is regarding something very important. So he wanted to meet meet Bipin Babu. Bipin Babu knew that what Chunni had come from for. Sorry, Chunni Lal had been at school with him. He had been having a rough time. They are having a rough time means it means having a lots of problems turning having a lots of problem, and had been coming to see him for job. Pipin knew it was not possible to do anything for him. In fact, told him so. Bipin, but Chunni kept turning up like a bad penny. There, the meaning of like turning up like a bad penny means appearing at a place where one is not welcome. It means okay. Now I'm going to describe in this paragraph. You know that Chuni was present in front of Bipin, means he was in Bipin's house. So, but Bipin Babu was well aware of what he had come for. They both went to school together, and Chuni Lal had been going through a rough time. He had a problem in his life that time. So he had come to ask for help related to job because he wanted to help. He need to help. He had no job that time, so he wanted to help with Bipin Babu to about search a job. Bipin Babu had already told him that it was difficult for him to help Chunilal with a job, but Chunilal did not stop turning up at his house. He has been compared to a bad penny to indicate that he was not very welcomed by the Bipin Babu in his home. Bipin Babu sent word that not only was it not possible for him to see Chuni now, but not in several weeks. In these lines, in the light of the current situation, Bipin Babu sent a message for Chunilal that it would not be possible to meet him now for few weeks. For that matter, but as soon as the servant stepped out of the room, he struck Bipin Babu that Chunni might remember something about 58 trip. Look at the cleverness of Bipin Babu. There was no harm in asking him. So, as the servant left the room, convey the message to Chunilal. Bipin Babu was hit with an idea. He thought there was no harming to ask Chuni about the Ranchi trip of 58 trip. So, Bipin Babu hurried down the stairs and into the living room. Chuni was about to leave, but seeing Bipin Babu appear, he turned round hopefully. Bipin Babu rushed to the living room. Through that the stair and Chunni was just about to leave, but seeing Bipin Babu, he turned back in a ray of some hope. Bipin Babu did not beat about the bush. There, the meaning of did not beat about the bush means came straight to the point. Listen, Chunni, I want to ask you something. You have a good memory, and you have been seeing me off and on for a long time. Just throw your mind back and tell me, did I go to Ranchi in 58? Chuni said, 58? It must have been 58. Or what is 50? Or was it 59? There, the meaning of throw your mind back. It means think back and recall the past event. And the meaning of off and on. It means now and then. In this paragraph, instead of going round and round, Bipin Babu came straight to the point and asked Chunni in the case he knew if Bipin Babu went to Ranchi in 58. Bipin Babu told him that Chunni must remember because he had a good memory and he had been seeing Bipin Babu every now and then. So Chuni was not sure if it was 58 or 59. Next paragraph. You are sure that I did go to Ranchi? Chunni's look of amazement, amazement means surprise, was not unmixed with worry. Do you mean you have doubts about having gone at all? Chunni, did I go? Do you remember clearly? Chunni sat down on sofa, fixed Bipin Babu with a long hard stare. Stare means to gaze something. And said, Bipin, have you taken to drug or something? Their drug means medicine or something like which gave us addictness. As far as I know, you had a clean record where such things were concerned. I know that old friendship don't mean much to you, but at least you had a good memory. Sorry. You can't really mean that you have forgotten about the Ranchi trip. In this paragraph, Bipin Babu reconfirmed. First of all, he reconfirmed with Chunni Lal if he is sure that Bipin went to Ranchi at him. In this line, look at it. That Bipin Babu went to Ranchi at all. This left Chunilal shocked and worried. He asked Bipin Babu if he was having doubts about having taken the trip to Ranchi at all. Bipin Babu asked him again if Chuni remembers about his trip to Ranchi clearly. On hearing this, Chunilal sat on the sofa and stared at Bipin Babu and gazed at Bipin Babu for a long time with surprise. He asked Bipin Babu if he had resorted or to drug or something of other things which is just like a drug or having some addiction. Chunni Lal mentions how Bipin Babu had a good memory and had a clear record of the events of his life in his mind. He further adds that he is well aware of how disconnected Bipin Babu is when it comes to old friendship, but he could not believe that he had forgotten about such a significant event like his trip to Ranchi. And after this, Bipin Babu had to turn away from Chunni's incredulous stare. Their incredulous stare means unbelievable or doubtful grace. Do you remember what my last job was? Asked Junilal. Of course, you work in a travel agency. And look at the meaning of these three lines. Junilal was staring at Bipin Babu since so long that Bipin Babu had to look away. Chunni continued to ask Bipin Babu if he remembered what Chunni's previous job was. So Bipin Babu remembered and told him it was a travel agency. You remember that you don't remember that it was I who fixed up your railway booking for Ranchi. I went to station to see of you and one of the fan of your compartment was not working. I got an electrician to fix. Have you forgotten everything? Whatever is the matter with you? You don't look too well, you know. Bipin Babu sighed. Sighed means emit a long, deep, audible breath, expressing sadness and relief, tiredness, and or other similar things, and shook his head. It means an act to show agreement. Okay, now I'm going to describe this paragraph. Look at the paragraph. Chuni pointed out that he remembers what his last job was, but how he could he forget that it was Chunni only who booked his railway tickets to Ranchi. He further adds that he even went to the station to see of him. He even remembered minute details like one of the fan in Bipin Babu's compartment did not work properly, perfectly, and how he got an electrician to fix it and it was restarted. Chuni could not believe how Bipin Babu had forgotten about everything. He points out that Bipin Babu does not look in the best of his health and shape too. Amity aside, Bipin Babu shook his head in agreement. Means Bipin Babu accepted that his health was not good. His health is not good. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to take another, means your next paragraph. I have been working too hard, he said at last. That must be the reason. Must see about consulting a specialist. Must see about consulting the specialist. It means here may have to consult. Doubtless it was Bipin's condition which made Chunilal leave without mentioning anything without about a job. Paresh Chandra was a young physician with a pair of bright eyes in the sharp nose. Sorry. He became thoughtful when he heard about the Bipin Babu's symptoms. Look, Dr. Chandra, said Bipin Babu, this separately. This separately means with grief. You must cure me of this horrible illness. I can't tell you how it is affecting my work. Okay, now listen the explanation of this paragraph. At last, Bipin Babu accepted that he had been working too much and first of all I'm describing these lines and after this the complete paragraph. So listen the explanation. At last Bipin Babu accepted that he had been working too much and that could be taking its toll on his memory. They agreed that he needed to see a specialist for his condition. Chunila left without even mentioning about the job and the reason for which was Bipin Babu's condition undoubtedly. Bipin Babu finally visited a physician named Paresh Chandra. The physician name was Paresh Chandra. The young doctor, and in this paragraph, you all will see the appearance of the Chandra. The young doctor and had bright eyes and a sharp nose. He got into thinking upon hearing Bipin Babu's symptoms, means his signs sign of illness. Bipin Babu told the doctor of how badly and desperately he wanted to get rid of this illness, means he wanted to uh, stay away from this type of disease. He termed his situation horrible. He further added that the way it might be affecting his work had started bothering him. Now I'm going to take next paragraph. Dr. Chandra shook his head. You know what, Mr. Chaudhary, he said, I have never had to deal with a case such as yours. Frankly, means without any hesitation. This is quite outside of my field of experience, but I have one suggestion. I don't know if it will work, but it is worth a try. It can do no harm to you. Okay, listen the explanation. Dr. Chandra shook his head upon hearing Bipin Babu's and began to reveal how a case like Bipin Babu, something he had never come across in his career, means in Chandra's career, he never found that type of case, means he did not find just like Bipin Babu's case, any case. He stayed honest and tell Bipin Babu that this is also outside his area of expertise, but he tells him that he has a suggestion to offer that might work. Means he had an hope and he wanted to tell a suggestion and he had hope it should be work. He calls it worth a try and adds that there are no negative consequences of doing it too. So Bipin Babu leaned forward anxiously. Anxiously means with worry in a matter resulting from relieving revealing anxiety. As far as I can make out, said Dr. Chandra, and think you are the same opinion. You must have been to Ranchi. But due to some unknown reason, the entire episode had slipped out of your mind. What I suggest is that you go to Ranchi once again. That site of the place may reminded you of your trip. This is not impossible. More than that, I cannot do at the moment. I am prescribing a nerve tonic and a tranquilizer. Tranquilizer means a medicine to reduce stress. Sleep is essential or the symptom will get more pronounced. Pronounced means got with a little difficulty. You listen. The explanation. Bipin Babu was anxious as he leaned toward the doctor. Lean means lay down. The doctor, in order to understand what he was prescribing clearly. The doctor continued to explain to Bipin Babu that he thinks Bipin Babu must have been to Ranchi, but due to some undefined reason also. Means the doctor told to Bipin Babu he revisited to Ranchi. He should be revisited to Ranchi. So the entire episode had slipped out of his mind. The doctor think that Bipin Babu is thinking this too. The doctor suggested him to visit Ranchi once again in the light of the possibility that the visual of the place might bring back his memory of this trip. He further added there is possibility of it is not negligible and that this is the most he can do at the moment. He further prescribed him a nerve tonic and a medicine to reduce his stress and anxiety that would help him to sleep better. An adequate sleep would be only worsen the symptom. This is the last paragraph of this part. So listen. Bipin Babu felt somewhat better the next morning. After the breakfast, he rang up his office, gave some instructions, and then proceed, procured. Procured means got a little difficulty. A first class ticket for Ranchi for the same evening. Okay, listen. And as Bipin Babu woke up the next morning, he felt a bit better. After having breakfast, he called his office to give some instruction, to give some suggestion to the other employees, and then arrange a first class ticket to Ranchi for the same evening. So thus the Vipin revisited the Ranchi and he got the train. Okay, this is the third part of this chapter. I hope you all understand the chapter. If you all understand the chapter, then like the video and share it with your friends and subscribe the channel. Press the bell icon also. Thanks for watching this video.